What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Yeah, I Said It, the podcast for all things sports. I am your host, Chris, and today we're going to talk about the Ohio State University and Ryan Day, and we also going to talk about Dabo Swinney and those Clemson Tigers, Ohio State's recruiting class, and where their programs stand at this particular moment in time as far as where they stand on everything that's happening in the world. And what the hell is Dabo Swinney doing? Next on Yeah, I Said It Sports. A lot of experts feel that they are on the verge of having the greatest recruiting class in the modern era. That is ridiculous, first of all. So kudos to Ryan Day and his staff for doing an awesome job during this whole coronavirus pandemic and just reeling in a lot of recruits that people just didn't see coming. So you have a lot of recruits that are committing and never even visited the campus. Visiting the campus is the most important part for a lot of recruits because it's the most important decision of a high schooler's career. You're pretty much making what Urban Meyer would say, a 40-year decision and not a 4-year decision. I think they're going to get that number one all-time spot. But just going over a couple of the recruits they have the number one defensive end, the number one running back, the number 4 quarterback, the number 6 defensive end, the number 4 receiver, the number 8 defensive tackle. This is just all according to the ESPN top 300 so far. But you see the amount of influx and talent that they're getting, and to get them where kids aren't even able to come to the campus is ridiculous. It's awesome to see. It's surprising to see. The reason why I think a lot of people are surprised because one, people wanted to see how Ryan Day was going to do as a head coach in recruiting these high school kids to come to Ohio State. And what we're finding out is he might be better at this than Urban Meyer. It's ridiculous. As an Ohio State fan, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, you've had great recruiting classes at Ohio State. Let's be honest. We had Joey Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott. We've had classes that Michael Thomas. You've had classes that are just absolutely amazing, but they're probably touting this one possibly that it could be the greatest ever. We'll see about that. The proof is in the pudding. But as of right now, it's looking that way. But what I really want to talk about as far as Ohio State is the stance that they took. They took a big stance on Black Lives Matter. They made a video on Black Lives Matter and posted it on all social media platforms that they have. This is a huge, huge deal. Me being from Ohio, growing up there, I understand the atmosphere that they're in. For them to step up, put their big boy pants on, and say, "Hey, this is wrong. We need to fix it. Join us in fixing it." Pretty much I believe it's all the team captains or perceived future team captains for this coming season is in this video, and Coach Ryan Day at the end of the video is in the video saying, "Hey, basically join us in righting this wrong." Big move on behalf of Ohio State, because Ohio State is the biggest thing in Ohio, period. Point blank. Nobody, no one person, no one team is bigger than Ohio State. Ohio State is the state of Ohio, meaning they're bigger than the Browns, they're bigger than the Cincinnati Bengals, they're bigger than the Columbus Blue Jackets, they're bigger than LeBron James. And people in Ohio thought LeBron James was the greatest basketball player of all time after his 6th season in the NBA. I'm just being 100 with y'all. So for people around the country, people already thought he was the greatest player of all time that they've ever seen. They just wanted him to have a championship so people could shut up about him winning them, period. But for Ohio State, with the platform that they have to stand up and say Black Lives Matter as a team and as a program is amazing. Then you have not the flip side to that, but you kind of have the flip side to that. You have the Clemson Tigers. Clemson's recruiting class right now is ranked third overall in the country. They have about 14 players committed so far. They just received one that picked Clemson over Ohio State earlier last week, or earlier this week. Yeah, late last week. But I think that had to do more with Ohio State's depth at receiver, because the kid plays receiver. So his depth, the depth at Ohio State is ridiculous. He probably didn't think he was going to see the field. And when you're thinking about Clemson's wide receiver room, you really can't think of anybody that they have. Now that their star receiver Ross is hurt, who do you know that's out there that's playing for them? Not pretty much anybody. So the Clemson Tigers took a different approach. They pretty much didn't do anything that said Black Lives Matter. I haven't seen any of their players involved in anything. I think that's attributed to what Dabo Swinney wants. So when you study the history of college football, the coach, he runs the program because it's his program. So he's in charge of staff, players, you name it. So anything that comes out of the program, he knows it. He's responsible for it. He's the one that is held accountable for it. So things that Dabo Swinney has been saying lets me know, I don't want people to rush to say that he don't like black people or that he's racist or anything like that. I don't think that's the case. I think Dabo Swinney is a person that if it doesn't benefit me, I ain't for it. And a lot of people are like that. But it's something to be said about standing up for what's right. And if you can't stand up for what's right, I mean, honestly, what the hell are you here for, bro? You got to stand for something. You can't sit there and see something that's completely wrong and do nothing about it. I ain't with that. I'm not with that at all. Apparently, he's actually told his football players in the past to pretty much not get involved in those type of things. If it doesn't represent the football team and what we stand for as a whole, don't get involved. So basically, when I'm seeing that and I don't see any of his football players staying up and saying Black Lives Matter, which, I mean, how is that an argument? I don't understand. But you have mostly black football players on your team. And without them, you would win no games. You have to see it from the player's perspective. I'm a black man riding down the road and I get pulled over. I'm scared. I'm nervous. My heart's beating fast. Just because I play football doesn't mean that whoever's about to come to the window knows who I am, even if I'm famous, even if I have a lot of money, especially with football players, because they wear helmets, so people don't even know what they look like. So if you're sitting there and telling these students try not to get involved in that, they wouldn't have came to you and told you that this is something that they were thinking about doing or getting involved with, and if they didn't know what they were getting into. They understand the ramifications of that. They have to stand up for what's right for them. And for Ryan Day to take a different approach and say, hey, not only do I want you to take a stand for what's right, I'm going to stand with you. And then you have another coach who's saying, if it ain't about football and it don't benefit us or it doesn't benefit me, don't do it. That's just how I feel. That's how I see him now. I think that there's a willful ignorance that he doesn't want to understand. He doesn't care to understand because the movement that's going on right now doesn't benefit him. And I think that's just how he sees it. Do I blame him for that? Yeah, because like I said, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Right now, I don't think it's showing up in the recruiting rankings, to be honest with you. But I think some of the players that are probably considering going to Clemson and they're seeing what's going on, like the things that he's saying and not saying, he also wore this past weekend a Football Matters t-shirt, which seems very insensitive. You know, what can you do? You know, some people you're just not going to be able to help, but that's okay. The thing that really kind of upsets me is when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, he definitely had something to say. He even said, if you don't like this country, you can go ahead and leave. Look it up, people. He said it, but now things are a little bit different. It's the same subject, but a little bit different because everybody's eyes are open to what's going on right now. And you still saying the same thing. And if you don't like it, leave. I mean, he's telling you without telling you. The more time goes on, people are going to have to own up to what they said during this time. Like, for example, a lot of the recruits that are committing to Ohio State now talk about the time that Ohio State won the national championship. Not the team that just won the national championship, which is LSU. Not the team who won it the year before or the year before that. They're talking about the team that resonated with them was the Ohio State team that had Ezekiel Elliott on it, Joey Bosa, Michael Thomas, so on and so forth. It's a lot of pro football players on that actual team. And those kids are referencing those players as a reason to why they always wanted to play at Ohio State. Because it looked fun. And all these players that they're naming went pro. And then when they get to go pro, they're succeeding. Unlike other places. That's a different video. But I'm just mainly interested in seeing how this is going to go for Clemson. If he's going to remain on this stands and trying to not get involved and trying to be in his, what you would say, his bubble, willfully ignorant to me. Like I said, I just think he just wants to be, he just cares about whatever benefits him. And as long as he's winning games, he's like, I don't care. Basically. But to see where these two programs go from here on out, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how recruits view the programs. I don't think it would necessarily happen this recruiting cycle, but I definitely think it will start to shape itself the next recruiting cycle. Appreciate you guys for joining me. I'll see y'all the next time. Like, subscribe. I appreciate the support. Holla at me till next time.